Hello, welcome to this talk about MkUltra programming. This has become more and more famous now, especially after the 80s, when the MkUltra programming was actually revealed from the CIA documents. Naema, what is the background of MkUltra?
Yeah, it's really difficult to understand because it's popping up in all different areas. So one thing that one must understand that this is an ancient mythology. Elitistic families use to program their child even before birth, and it's all pre-planned, and where the mind of that child is controlled and the life is completely rigged and scripted throughout. And it's actually you are a slave. You are a slave in these family traditions. MkUltra slave.
Are there any examples of these slaves that people can relate to?
Yeah, this is the thing, that these people, they are then molded into certain persona. I mean, they will mold a person who will be a nerd differently than an actress in Bollywood, Hollywood, or Lollywood. They will use a lot of things on the looks and dancing, and they became kind of like a circus clown. You know, they use that kind of technique on that person. But a nerd, for example, they made, you can see Bill Gates. It's a good example. How they have his looks very nerdy. This is all molded from with the genealogy in the lab. Many of them are made in laboratorium. That means that they are already, with the DNA is already planned.
So when you mention Bill Gates, you dive right into the transhumanism and the transgender issues. So it's a good pathway into that, because transgenderism and transhumanism, that's also a part of MkUltra programming.
And this is what's so difficult, because you can have a certain area which is your expertise in the MkUltra, but it still is very difficult to understand, because you have to look at these people's religion. What is their philosophy, like the Nazis' philosophy? What was their philosophy? And also, what is their belief system? So you have to look at all these aspects. Then you realize that it's like, it's actually an occult system. And they are part of occult families. And and you have to look at their religion. And one of the difficult part to understand is that part of the MkUltra is very deeply connected with demon possession, which is not even mentioned ever in the Western society. In the medical terms, you can go, any slave or mind controlled person will try to get help from a psychiatrist or psychologist in the Western world. But they don't even know these things as demonology. They use words like multiple personality disorder, which used to be DID, dissociative identity disorder. It used to be called that, but now they call it multiple personality disorder. And Fritz Springmeier has mentioned in his book, The Undetectable Illuminati Slave, he mentioned that in India there is not diagnosed like multiple personality disorder, because they have this tradition with the demon possession.
Yeah, it's a part of their common conscious.
Exactly.
So to speak.
And it's in the religion, in Hinduism, in Islam, even in Judaism, you have this whole concept of demons. And the thing is that if you go, like Fritz Springmeier mentioned, if you go to a psychiatrist, he will never know how to handle these things. So, in this time and age, you need to heal MkUltra slave. You have to have a doctor, a priest, and you have to have a psychologist and a shrink. So you have to have all these things because it's not just one thing. That's why you cannot fathom this. And then also this gender inversion, which is always like in the backbone in these occultist families.
Can I just backtrack when you talk about to heal an MkUltra slave? When the MkUltra slave is programmed, that person, and it's the American Psychology Association that makes the diagnosis of multiple personality disorders, but in reality, it's actually the mind is being fractured into different parts. Can you explain some of that process there?
Yeah, so to make a mind controlled slave, this whole thing is based on fragmenting the mind. That means crushing it up in 1,000 pieces, and that crushing happens through trauma. You have to traumatize the child so much, even from before birth, where you start traumatizing the pregnant mother. But in these days, this is also like made in labs. So there are tube babies. Ectogenesis. A lot of them are now ectogenesis. So, this is when you make a child also, if you look at it in a religious perspective, there is no love between a man and a woman when you create it. So you don't have the soul in there. You just create it in a glass and you put the DNA in it. And it's no touch of godliness in it, if you look at it. So they became kind of robotic. And this is all. And you have to, like I said to you, like when you look at it religious perspective, this I mean, for instance, in Islam, we accept that jinnat, this is demons, exist. This is part of our belief system. This is part of being Muslim and having faith. Because we believe in the judgment day and we believe in jinn also. And then this whole thing with jinn is that Iblis, who got the whole time until judgment day to persuade humans by whispering in their blood things to seduce them. So they wouldn't even know, because listen to this, whispering in their blood. So you think it's your own thoughts. And this whole thing is very deep in Islam. And this happens through betrayal, deception, Dajjal, this whole thing with Dajjal. And this is part of being a Muslim. So you understand this whole thing with demons. And the thing is, Iblis was hermaphrodite. He was male and female. So he got the time all the way to end time, to the judgment day, to persuade humans. And like God, one of the things, like I mentioned before, is to mock God by imitating him, but then turning everything upside down to laugh at him. Like, haha, look at the joke. And part of that is transgenderism, because they know that transgenders will not procreate. And it's laughing at God, and it's fooling humanity to portray a man as a woman and a woman as a man. So actually they are laughing at God and laughing at us humans that are left, that are pure humans still. Actually they are laughing at us because God created us. So in the future, I mean, now I'm sidetracking a little, but what will be more important is to recognize other humans.
So demon possession and transgenderism.
Yeah.
That is also a part of MK MkUltra or this program? As I understand it, the way you have talked about it now, you have talked about the roots and how MkUltra programming has been going on for generations.
Yeah.
And now it's also became an integrated part of CIA in the US, and they have used these methods and systemized them in the benefit of intelligence service for United States and Israel. So when they are picking their children into these families, so do you say that these families also are integrated into politics and the intelligence services and business and so forth?
Yeah, all the platforms that are in the virtual world today, maybe even from radio to visual to social media, the big players are from these elitistic families, whether it is and this is like globally, whether it's politician in Israel or politician in Pakistan. This is all rigged, scripted and pre-planned. Otherwise you'll not get there. And because also you see this is in Bollywood, Hollywood and Lollywood, which is in Lahore. In Pakistan is called Lollywood. So these people are constructed. They are not real people. And if you listen to their stories, it's always like, if you look a little bit between the lines, how their claim to fame, it's always this really like from Madonna to Elvis Presley singing for his mother, to Madonna being broke in New York. You know, this whole fairy tale. This is also programming that has taught us who grew up in the West or in this society. We are really programmed to
aim for fame.
Aim for fame and really think that will be what will get you somewhere. Meanwhile, there will never be a chance because this is already scripted, pre-planned. You never have a chance, and most importantly, you will not be there if you're not a MkUltra slave or you are transgendered. These are two main criteria to be able to get a passport inside the elite family.
So, in a way, this is an argument against the Western democracies.
Yeah.
Because when politicians are listed for the parties,
yeah,
those politicians are already working for that agenda.
Yeah.
If one of them is chosen or the other one is chosen,
yeah,
they're working for the same agenda.
Yeah, because this is planned long time before. You know, this is already, so like they say, you are not elected anywhere. You are selected. You know, you are selected to be there. And this is the whole criteria. This goes also very scary because this is also with a lot of the psychiatrists and doctors. They are also placed in certain area because to maintain a MkUltra slave, which is transgender, there is a lot of medicine use. So you need to have a doctor on house. So you need to have these people, and also you need psychiatrists, which are basically the modern day handlers.
The programmers, so
the
to
programmers speak. Are the psychiatrists. And this is based on all about the main programmer or handler, you may say, which is Sigmund Freud, who was a doctor, and he created the whole thing about psychiatry. So he's already done all this programming. So when you're part of this medical unit and transgenderism, it's this is a whole big show. It's theater, and it's fake, and the doctor are compromised. And you have to be part of this whole play. And at the end of the day, you are basically selling your soul and not doing the right thing as a medical professional.
So to program the subconscious is your take on Sigmund Freud's psychoanalysis,
Yeah.
kind of then.
He's the one who started with this whole hypnotizes the women who were hysterical, and this whole story, and then extremely sexualizing the human, that we were just really sexualized from childhood, sexualizing basically the child. He started with this tradition.
And that brings us also into pedophilia and sexual misconduct on children.
That's a big part of
abuse, pedophilia and abuse. Can you?
This is very important because this is very big part of the MkUltra. It's the sexual abuse, because you abuse to a lot of these children are sodomized, and that's what you call the panda eyes, is for child sodomy.
Panda eyes is a physical token of anal penetration on children.
Yeah, so you have this venous blood underneath the eyes, which stagnates, because basically you have a lot of veins in your anal canal, and when this is really burst as a child, your whole venous flow changes. You really start disturbing the natural flow of the child. But anyhow, these children are sexually abused from a very, very young age. And here where it comes in this beta kitten programming, which a lot of the actresses had to go through, that is to tremendously sexualize this actually male to female.
Transgender.
Yeah, transgender.
So for some people it's a lot of, even for me also, which are a little bit into this stuff, to kind of keep your mind straight through this, because it's so many upside down changes, and you don't have that concept.
Yeah.
But you're saying actually that these children are transgender. They are switched from female to male or male to female.
Yeah.
And
according to their script or their life or their programming, which is pre-planned, they are thereby downloading certain software.
Exactly. And what you're talking about now is that the kitten, what did you call it?
Beta kitten.
The beta kitten programming is one of those types of programming.
That's the sexualized, very much. You can see most of the singers, Jennifer Lopez, Beyonce, Britney Spears, this twerking business. When you see a male to female twerk, you can just notice in your brain that Naema is saying this is beta kitten programming.
Yeah. And it's also a programming on the masses.
Yeah.
When you see how Twitter and YouTube are blasting these transgender twerkers all over the internet, so young people growing up, they would actually believe that this is a normal sexualized idol.
And you know what is so funny with these demons, both in Hindu terminology, in yogic terms, and in Islam. These jinn or demons, they like to sing and dance a lot. So one of the things that when they put certain ancient demon in a person, they know that that demon likes to sing and dance. So that, you may say, that transgender likes to twerk. It likes to twerk a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's been doing it for thousands of years. It just loves to twerk.
So it's kind of like a demon taking over a robot, and is using that robot to twerk.
Yeah. Because these demons, they love to act like humans. They love to portray humans, and they are not. And it's very difficult to discriminate, oh, is it a human or is it not? And one thing to look for, oh, is it a human or is it not, is to see if their compassion and consciousness is intact. Now, what is that? That's not, that somebody still is human. This is that discriminate a robot or a demon from a human, because we can still feel and create, and we can feel compassion for each other. If you don't have that anymore, you lost your human touch, basically.
And that's what some of the transhuman agenda is, to incorporate robotics into the human brain.
Yeah.
To actually, by a vaccine, you could get something called hydrogel, which is a fake DNA merging with the human DNA and actually making that human take orders from a remote control. I mean, that's very basic down to the concretes, but that's the technology, that's the level of technology in AI today.
Yeah, and also I will want to just tell you, just to specify at the end here now, like what is being under mind control. Basically, you don't have any will of your own anymore. So the thing is that when the human don't have their own will, and somebody else's will is actually running the show.
That's very interesting you say that, because to not have your own will, that's a common conscious programming that the whole Western society has been through for the past 100 years or even more. And Friedrich Nietzsche was the one that wrote the book Beyond Good and Evil.
Yeah.
And it's clearly written in aphorism number 21, go look it up, that human beings, they don't have a free will, because it's the strongest urge in man, which always will win and turn into the action, eventually into an action. And by saying that, he says that there's no God and human beings doesn't have any free will. And this philosophy, this worldview, is the basis for the individualism, for the egoic society that we see these twerkers play upon today.
Because these are, at the end of the day, this is Satanism, to worship Satan, Shaitan, which is the head of demons. And this is actually to go by the Luciferian agenda. And Luciferian agenda is, in the core, is transgenderism, demonism, putting demon in, and then robotoids at the end. So this is where we are at now, and we have to wake up and look at this, and look at this whole game that is being played upon us, with the movies, with the twerking, with the theater distraction, like Trump, like with Israel and Netanyahu. This is complete disgusting theater, and these people are really fake.
And you see how they use this situation we're in now to occupy Palestine.
This is what's happening, because don't look at what's distracting you in front, like with the television, but look at what's happening behind it. The contracts that are being made, the deals that are being sealed in the background. Because what is distraction in front? This is just to keep humans like in a circus. The public hypnotized.
Nobody talk after the riots in the U.S. which are going on to this present day. There's no more talk about COVID-19, and nobody talks about the genocide in Kashmir made by India. So these things are just under the carpet now.
Yeah, and also this whole thing with Trump. This is just a noise that we are supposed to be preoccupied with. But at the end of the day, 1st of July, they are taking over more and more.
Yeah, 1st of July is the deadline that Israel set for imposing Israeli law on the West Bank. So that means they are occupying Palestine.
And this is all mind control at the end of the day. The Israeli Mossad intelligence agency, they are the one who are running a lot of the show, both in America and with this artificial intelligence in Weizmann Institute.
So when you mention that, we can't avoid talking about Epstein.
Yeah.
Because all of these things that you have now been talking about involves that operation of Epstein, which was a Mossad operation.
Yeah.
And he was blackmailing and compromising famous politicians and businessmen worldwide.
Yeah, and a lot of this was under Operation MkUltra. And what nobody wants to talk about, which is very important, is the transgender aspect.
Yeah, because that's totally missing in the Epstein debate, I think.
Yeah. It's totally missing, and what you have to see both when you look at Epstein and Andrew and Ghislaine, you can see they are all three switched.
So they are actually opposite.
They are, Ghislaine Maxwell, all the clinical anatomical research I've done on her, she has all the male traits. From her head to her feet, she has totally male traits. And with Epstein, like I told you, it's difficult to see it in men. But like one of the victims said that he had an egg-shaped penis. He had an egg-shaped, and when I look at his picture, he's always with this male to female transgender. And he has short arms. That's a female trait.
Very short arms and wide hips.
Wide hips, and when you look at a lot of these people and these operations, they are done with the MkUltra slaves, and a lot of them are transgender. And the medical institute and universities are involved.
We don't have to go into it now, but I put in description box below this video, I can put that we've already made a video on how they do this by hormone treatment during pregnancy and have been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of these MkUltra slaves, they are on heavy dose hormones and under hypnosis. One of the signs that you know they are is that when you see them in public arenas, they are never alone. They are with 3-4 friends, preferably their handlers, which is most of the time the person that will enter you will be the handler. Because these people are under mind control. They cannot survive if they have a big group of people playing the Truman Show. So that's one thing you can look, is the person, why is always with this gang?
And you have shown me some very interesting videos of TV shows from Indian Bollywood actresses, where you clearly see that these handlers are using hypnotic techniques, even by touch, that they push the artery around the wrist at the same time they push the other artery on the neck. And you can tell that the person is going into a trance on stage in front of an audience.
Well, a lot of the directors are handlers, a lot of producers are handlers, and a lot of the production house, the big CEOs, they are handlers. And they make MkUltra slaves to rent out to each other. They make a lot of money on this. And one thing that is important to mention is that a lot of these MkUltra slaves that are under beta kitten and hypnosis, they make porn films. So they are very much involved in underground porn movies, pornography.
What you call snuff films?
Snuff films, they make it under hypnosis, big groups on the set. This happens in Hollywood, Lollywood, and Bollywood. They are very much involved in pornography because these demons, they are addicted to sex. And you can put in a demon that are completely addicted to sex. So they make a lot of films
And
that are
this was-
going among the elite.
And this was what Epstein was doing.
Yeah, also.
On his residence and on the plane and everything. He recorded, and this is how Mossad and Israel operates. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
He recorded all these famous people
Yeah.
under hypnosis often,
Yeah.
having sexual intercourse with children,
Yeah.
abusing children,
Yeah.
and taping it, and they are compromised. And they will, if Israel then says, hey, jump,
Yeah.
they'll jump as fast as they can.
Yeah, because this is all about control. And when you look in the history, when you look behind, why did they start to transgender the children? They started actually doing it by castration because they wanted, for instance, that woman need to be married to a female and to be in the king.
Yeah,
Or the papacy had to be like that, and you have to have a man.
yeah.
So then, when the papacy, you were forced to only have a man.
Yeah, because the Pope must be a man.
So
As the
and-
king always has historically been a man.
And they have to have their hair.
Yeah.
So when these to stay in power, they had to do it, and then to remain in power. So you understand, first it was to stay in power, but now it's to remain in power.
So this is why this is the reason why we have a transgender cult both in politics, royalty, and amongst celebrities.
Everywhere. And like you said, it's everywhere.
Thank you so much for this knowledge sharing, Naema.
Yeah.
And to everybody out there, aim to fame is not the way to go at end times.
No. And everybody, thank you so much for interviewing me on this subject. It's a very difficult and complex subject, but I hope you learned a little bit from my tradition and my view today.
And your continuous research.
Yeah. So we will talk again soon. Thank you, Henrik.
No more than anything, thank you.
Thank you.